broken into by other things.
Yep.
That is quite possible.
That was quite a thing.
So welcome everybody. If you don't know who I am Captain Dina Dolphin, and I don't normally sound like this. We are here for the MSTie Christmas in Quarantine virtual meetup. Just doing some online stuff, hanging out, and losing my voice. So that being said, I hope you guys have some questions for Zach here. He played Bonehead number 2 on MSTie 3K season 11 and 12. But I can always let him introduce himself and tell more about him. So if you have a question, please throw it in the chat or like raise your hand, and you guys will be able to unmute yourself. I just ask you keep yourself muted until it's time to ask your question. So that being said, let me spotlight Zach over here, and so he can come and say hello.
Hey everybody, I'm spotlighted. I'm Zach Thompson. I don't think anybody is a stranger to me. I played Bonehead number 2, or the Bonehead from the live show in seasons 11 and 12. I did also write a little bit on season 11 for Yongari and for The Loves of Hercules. I feel like I'm going to just be repeating the stuff that I said about a month ago, so I don't know what else to say.
That's okay. That's quite all right.
You want to talk about writing? I would love to hear.
Yeah. See again.
Your writing history. I don't know anything about you in writing. Not Tim.
Tim Jr.
Zach.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like I don't have a ton of I don't know how to say it, published writing experience that you could see prior to season 11. You know, I think I told the story briefly about what happened was, for those who don't know, real quickly, Tim Ryder, who was Bonehead number 1, and his wife, Rebecca Hansen, who plays Gypsy, and Cynthia, and also wrote and contributed to seasons 11 and 12, and I think all the live tours since, they got approached by Joel about being in season 11. Then they asked Tim, who's very, very tall and slender, if he knew someone who was physically his opposite to play another Bonehead in seasons 11 and 12. And luckily, I'm America's shortest working comedian, and Portly at that. So they asked me. Joel basically said, "Okay, whatever, I trust you." And the next thing I know, I get an email out of the blue. It's just like a dream come true to be, you know, a part of a show that was one of my favorites of all time, a big part of my college and after college years of entertainment. And then, you know, going on down the road of like, we sent some pictures of us standing next to each other for the height difference. And they asked us to put makeup on and show them the makeup ideas. We did that. And then a short time later, they were like, okay, well, in the tradition of the show, we're going to invite you guys to contribute as writers. And that really blew my mind. You know, without asking for samples and things like that. So, you know, there are things out there that I've created and contributed on. And I think most of the produced works that I'm associated with, I've either improvised or written some things on. So that's basically it. But there's not like I could say, you know, you can go and watch the following things that I've written, or, hey, here's a link to my blog of short stories, because prior to that, there really wasn't much. And after that, also not much.
Did you study theater in college?
I did. I went to Illinois State University and started out, my idea was to become a Spanish teacher. Illinois State University is a big teacher college, and started as a Spanish major, theater minor. And for a theater department that that hasn't really produced a whole lot of heavy hitters, they were very hoity-toity about people being minor rather than focusing their entire being on being a theater major. So, you know, after a little while of kind of getting frowned on for not being a full-time theater major, I bailed out and went over to mass comm in broadcasting and radio and TV so that I could still have kind of an outlet. And that's what my outlet became then was, you know, DJ. You know, I wanted to be a talk radio host, I guess, on these college radio stations that really wanted you just to play college music and be quiet. So that between that and producing, or, you know, working on the TV station stuff, all the people involved in the TV station like, oh, you should take some acting classes after this because you're really funny and blah, blah, blah. So I've told this story, I think, on the Revival League podcast, but I got out of college and my first call was to Windy City Pro Wrestling because I was going to be, I wanted to be Bobby Heenan, basically. He was right over my shoulder here. And I said to them, like, what would it cost for me to be like just a ring announcer or interviewer on your show or, for Windy City? And they're like, well, it's $5,000 or $3,000, I think at the time, $2,500 maybe. I'm probably missing the story, but it was more expensive for a recent college grad. It was shockingly expensive for a recent college grad, I should say. And they're like, but you can be here 7 days a week and 6 hours a day. And I said, well, I don't want to be a wrestler. I just want to be like an on-air personality for you guys. And they're like, yep, yeah, it's $2,500 for 6 months, and you can be here as often as you want. So my very next call was to Second City, where I took my first improv class, and that was in 1998.
Second City is offering all sorts of online classes right now because nobody can go anywhere. Which classes should I take?
So,
Professor, I have a question.
I honestly, I have not been into Second City's classes since 98. In 1999, I got a tax return and took my first class at Improv Olympic, IO, formerly Improv Olympic, where I ended up meeting Rebecca and later working with her and Tim, and we went on, all of us, en masse to Comedy Sports Theater. So I can't really speak to the state of their training center or the teachers there. I do know that Comedy Sports is currently offering online classes, and they've had a ton of success with their online shows and classes. So I can give my recommendation there and tell you that you'll see teachers that work there in different varied subject things. But I don't know much about the Second City training course right now. I know.
Tell me about what classes you would recommend in general then.
Honestly, the funny thing about going to Second City level 1 class is it's usually 20 to 30 people who are from all walks of life, and generally speaking, either young professionals who are either new to the city and want to meet people, or older professionals whose bosses have told them, you really need to get out and learn how to communicate with people. Here's an idea. And Second City is the name, right? So Second City is the name that you hear and the name that, especially in Chicago, so you go to there. And if you're an accountant who needs better team building skills, you go there and take an improv class just to see what it's like. I mean, once you get into the second, third, fourth classes, the professional that needs a little outreach and this is, again, 20 years ago, that's how it was. I mean, it could be now to where they have a improvising for professionals who just want help communicating course. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the course catalog. So that's the kind of stuff, a level 1 kind of thing is what you're going to get, is the gameplay and the yes and there's no bad ideas. Let's all work together on something. The very basics of improv that kind of lay the foundation for everything else. So I would recommend that anybody take those just for free play and ideas and I don't know how to delicately put this, but my wife's the planner between us and I'm the improviser, right? So she'll plan something, and when it doesn't go exactly right, we pick up the pieces and make chicken salad out of chicken droppings. So it's a good way to learn how to make the best of what you're doing. And for those of you who were on the my Q&A last time, or maybe it was Tim's over Thanksgiving, us messing around in the background where we were given no direction, but we had to look like we were actually existing in the space of Moon 13 and moving things around. We just made it up together and worked together. And, before each take, we'd say, oh, let's try it this way, and just, listen to each other and do it. And, we got good feedback on what it added, but it's again, just putting yourself in the mindset of where am I and how can I add to this, rather than, or how can I help build the pyramid rather than run up to the top and place the tiny pyramid on top of everything else.
Ian has a question. What do you got for us, Ian?
Come on, Homer Simpson GIF.
No. I was wondering if you preferred, whether you preferred a short form or a long form improv.
That is a great question, Ian. Ian, you're not from Chicago area, are you?
No, I'm from Denver.
Okay.
It's like Chicago, but taller.
Yes. Yes. Wow, I'd never belong there then. I'm the shortest. But anyhow, the reason I ask is that my sister keeps asking for me to keep an eye out for an Ian who she was like a proctor of summer camp, and there was an Ian that was a huge MSTie, like back in the 90s, and she keeps expecting this person to present themselves to me. So since the name came up, that's why I asked, but in a very roundabout, ugly way. Here, I'll answer your question. I think both have a lot of merit, and if you know the difference, but for the general public, people who may not be familiar, short form improvisation is like whose line is it anyway, for one of a better suggestion or what a better comparison. But it's like you play short games and reset after and get a new suggestion, play another short game. And long form improvisation is where you get one suggestion, a roll for a period of time, be it half an hour, 90 minutes, or something like that. I will say that most people who go see like a Second City touring show or most touring comedy shows want to see some sketch, but they also want to be like drug up on stage to play a game with the actors or watch their friends. Like if you hire a comedy company to come to your Christmas party, what you want is the guy from accounting to be like humiliated in front of everybody, right? And so they want that kind of like short form engagement. I'll say that, Comedy Sport's the one that specializes in short form. Second City plays short form games. Places like IO don't really do short form. They do long form improvisation, but, it's been said that Comedy Sports trains people to do those traveling shows better than anybody else because there's an audience thirst for, hey, I've got these comedians here. Let's get the boss up and see if we can get him to stumble on his words. And that's the kind of stuff that you're really looking for. That said, myself, I can honestly say I don't have a preference. One of the other shows that Tim Ryder and myself are involved in is something called the Improvised Shakespeare Company, or will be involved in, presumably whenever things can be performed again. And that is a long form show where we recreate a Shakespeare play based on an audience suggestion of the title. And honestly, it's a magic trick. Even me watching it as it's happening, I feel like I'm running to catch the bus with a lot of the guys that are regular players that they're just amazing at it. So for me, that's the challenge where I feel like Comedy Sports short form improvisation is I always say it's like baking a cake. You're going to put the ingredients in, the games in, and at the end there's going to be cake, and everybody likes cake. it's a crowd. So that's the show you can take a 2-year-old and a 92-year-old too, and everybody will have a good time.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ian. And
Thank you.
After this, Ian's going to host some games for us in his Discord, and I will put the link down there. So go hang out with Ian on his games.
Perfect.
Hey, Tim, I see you're here. You want to ask your question?
Sure, why not? So, Zach,
Yes.
I asked during Turkey Day, Rebecca and Tim this. So I will ask you this. What is your favorite memory or memories from season 11 and 12?
I think my answer is going to be similar to theirs. And that is like the first day for Tim and I shooting was the intro, like the actual opening, like the opening credits. And that was where, it was just like, holy crap, this is real. It's coming down around your ears where they're playing the theme song. We're trying to lip sync the theme song. We're trying to move that ziggurat with Felicia on it. And they told the story about Felicia being like, not really telling anybody she was pregnant, but having to come down and say to the two of us, hey, you two that I don't know from Adam, please be careful because I can't topple off this thing, and it was just one of those things where it was just like, holy crap, it's all. And for me, again, day one, the makeup takes 45 minutes. They put me in wardrobe and I'm sitting there, and then they like call me to set, and there's Felicia, there's Pat, and there's, Jonah, and like everybody. Like luckily Tim and Rebecca are my friends, so I felt like sidle up to them a little bit. But it just, that one of my favorite memories is just having it, kind of like somebody grab you by the lapels and pull you up close and be like, this is happening right now. You got to be here for it, right? And then the second one was like when I finally got to see Reptilicus, was for the backer tour when they released that and that was like also my first time being in a live crowd of people watching, and it was just mind blowing to see, to be in that shared experience with everyone, hear the applause, and then be like thinking to yourself, oh crap, I can't wait till I can go back and watch this and hear all the jokes I can't hear because everyone's laughing so loud. So those are the two biggies, I think.
That was a good night, Tim. That's when we first met in Chicago at the premiere of this whole idea of Mystery Science Theater, and the screening tour for
Yes.
which you not only autographed my sign but added the extra finger on Joel. So I've got that, and all the memories of that whole time where we, the community, felt like, you know, this was our thing. We're back. We have back in our lives the opportunity to share these moments together, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like it was like being at a reunion with a bunch of people you've never met, and I'm talking about that show in particular. Like, because you know, Rebecca and Tim and I are like, nobody knows who we are, but we're fans also, and we're like milling about, and just like everybody like, oh my god, this is so great, and who are you? Hi, you know, like again, like a reunion of people you have no idea who they are. It was spectacular.
Love it. I love the whole experience from beginning to end. The idea, the anticipation of the revival when we were talking about making this happen, and then it was here, and you all, and then we met Rebecca. We didn't know about Rebecca. Rebecca was a secret, and that Chicago moment when we all met each other.
Yeah, it was crazy too to see like friends that had been backers that I didn't really even realize, like the kind of like the thunder roll from New York across. You know, like, and hearing what they thought about it, and it just made me feel good to be like, I can't wait to like actually, you know, like Rebecca said on Thanksgiving, we couldn't tell anybody, so it's like, you know, finally be like, I can now, you know, post a picture of myself at this premiere and be like, hey guys, something I've been meaning to tell you. So yeah, it was spectacular.
Hopefully
Well, I got to see it in LA. Unfortunately, you guys were not there, but you know, I got to meet Joel, and Jackie from Manos was there at the LA premiere as well. We all went to Disneyland. Had a good time before going to the thing. I do have a question from somebody online, and I probably should have asked Steve to read these for me, but
now.
I know, too late now. Matt DeMarco from Parts Unknown. He says, oh, wait. Okay. Does it ever, he's got a couple of questions. Does it ever feel bad that such a handsome man is hidden under that bonehead makeup?
No, you know, I think I've got the looks for radio more than anything else, but I can always tell my friends, like, if you watch it, you know, like, oh, I didn't know you were in that, and be like, I'm always the shortest one on screen. So that's how you tell them. I'm shorter than Patton. I'm shorter than Felicia. You'll know it's me, but know that I'm under makeup and a helmet.
And you said it took 40 minutes to get you like fully in costume?
Yeah, give or take. I don't think I told the story last time. I think this is when we were doing the interstitial video for the live tour, but I got to be, we shot a few things for the first live tour where I'm like, well, Felicia and Patton and me are interacting with the people on stage. Interacting. I mean, whatever. They, you know, it just cuts back and forth. But and so wardrobe wasn't ready for me yet, but the makeup's like, we really need to get going. So I'm like, all right, well, if it doesn't put you guys off, I'll just take my shirt off and you can do the makeup while I'm sitting here. And so I'm sitting there with no shirt on, getting this makeup put on me. And Joel comes in, he's like, that is a carpet of pleasure, right? So it doesn't bother me that I'm under the makeup. I honestly, like, if it was just my elbow or my butt, I'd be happy to be involved in, you know, again, a dream come true.
That was, I'm assuming, was the makeup like uncomfortable at the end of the day? Were you ready to just like take it all off? Or
no, honestly, the hardest part about the whole schmear was underneath all the bonehead stuff, you're wearing a morph suit that they just cut the head cover off. And so you're zipped all the way up to the back. So anytime there's a break, I'd have to turn to someone and be like, can you unzip me, please? So I can go to the bathroom or whatever, you know? And then, you know, like the makeup is the makeup. It's not fun or easy. but you have to be careful taking the helmet on and off to make sure you don't. I mean, really, only the visor window is visible, but you have to make sure you don't smudge that. There was a scene during, like when we were filming the wedding scene, I tried to improvise like I was crying, and then touched the white cotton glove to the black eye, and I was like, well, that was really goddamn stupid. So had to find a different way to, pretend that I was involving myself in the scene. But yeah, that's the other thing too, is like, if we had to drink through straws, and if I had an allergy to something on the set, and I have to take a Q-tip and like wipe the inside of my nose so that I wouldn't smudge the makeup. It was gross.
Continuing with Matt's question, he's like to know, what is your favorite classic MST3K episode? And his is Time of the Apes.
Ooh, I think we discerned last time it was Godzilla versus the sea creature, the sea monster. It is my all-time favorite. I needed help with the title because I hadn't rewatched it a bunch. Ega's another one. I just picked up an armload of VHS tapes from some estate sale where I was like, I went in a bedroom and there's all the, a handful of the VHS, and I'm like, I'm getting this. I mean, I'm a wrestling fan. We used to trade tapes, so I have at least 3 working VCRs in the house. So, it's fine to find it on VHS. So.
Very cool. That's all the questions that I have of all that was online. Like I said, this is a smaller event.
Yeah, no sweat. And again, it's a repeat. A lot of, especially the 4 of you guys on the masthead, Steve and Tim and you, Dina. You've heard all these stories from me, so I don't want to.
What's coming up for 2021?
What's that?
What do you have in the pipeline for 2021? What's going on with Zach?
Nothing. Honestly, like none of the theaters are open yet, and everybody's kind of waiting for vaccines to get out there and shoes to drop for things to return to performing normal, right? So my usual weekend would be one night a week where I'd get out to do something for my mental health and perform, right? So that's my therapy, is getting on stage, I guess, and screaming at people. Or not really, but within the context of a scene. So the other thing I would do is announce wrestling shows. So that was usually once a month. So one of the 4 nights a week I would be doing commentary for wrestling shows, and those can't return either. So a lot of my coworkers and things, my regular guy job are like, oh, things are kind of getting back to normal, and I'm like, no, they're not. As anyone who works in restaurants or like public-facing entities, you just have that big unknown where until people are comfortable out there, possibly high-fiving a stranger when something cool happens, it's not going to feel normal. I mean, fortunately for me, Comedy Sports has a Twitch channel, and they're doing a lot of their shows online. I'm pitching a couple shows for their Twitch season. Obviously, if you have a Twitch channel, you're not just running your shows. They're looking for open interest shows, and a couple friends of mine and I through that group are trying to pitch some things that are not necessarily will be funny, but not necessarily like Comedy Sports shows or improv shows either. It might be other kind of shows. We'll see. I don't want to say too much yet because I'm not sure if it's going to happen. So it is what it is. You can catch me on the Twitch stream eventually.
Well, once you got the link and the information, make sure we get it, and we'll hop over there and support that.
Yeah, I did say one thing I was able to accomplish in 2020, and that was the Zoom etiquette video that I made with On Cue, which is a corporate entertainment company. They made it for a trade show, and I did share that out, so that it was the one thing I was able to do in 2020.
I'll have to go look that up. I had a question, then I just got caught up in you talking, and I forgot what it was.
What's your coping mechanism, Zach? What have you been doing to keep yourself going in 2020? For a lot of us, it's Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say it's not for me. I mean, honestly, before I had kids, I used to think that there was good years and bad years, and like I would have like a bad year and an odd. That was my superstition, right? But when you have kids, there's great days and bad days, or even great hours and bad days. So I feel like they're kind of like my focus, and I also feel like if you are trying not to get burned by a dumpster fire, and you let on that you're trying not to get burned by a dumpster fire, and that's all you're doing, it translates. So I'm trying to keep a positive spin on things and keep myself interested in them to brighten everybody's mood, if that makes sense. To where I'm not like basically saying, don't look outside, it's a tragedy everywhere. Trying to help find the joy in the little things, even if it's just, person-to-person interaction. So that, the other coping mechanism I've had, and I will say this, is a friend of mine, a podcaster by the name of Marty DeRosa, says that if you're feeling low, you should do something nice for other people. And I've been fortunate to have a job through this whole thing. I've been donating where I can, particularly to food banks and things like that. But also, like, I collect all kinds of crap. And I've been kind of like, since I've been trapped in my house and had time to file through things, I've been like mailing things that I think people will be interested in to them. And I'll get a message out of the blue like, why did you send me Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe? Oh my God, this is the greatest. So that's kind of been my, instead of texting a friend to see how they are, like, send them something weird and see if you can get a reaction.
I'll give you my address. You can send me stuff. I remember what my question was. You mentioned that you would do wrestling announcing and commentary. Rob with 2 B's, Rob Maynard. I know you guys have talked about wrestling, but do you know if you've mentioned any of that to him? Because I think sadly he can't be here today, but I bet he would get a kick out of that.
I don't know if we connected on it on an extensive level. Somewhere I've got a YouTube channel that doesn't have a link that's clean because I don't have enough followers, but I can send it to him. It just shows the stuff that I've done, the commentary stuff that you can find online. I just put a playlist together. So
yeah, I will write that down. I'll message you later and get that. And so that was just something that crossed my mind, and because every time I think about wrestling, I think about Rob. And let me show off the Christmas present. Speaking of Rob, that he got me.
Put yourself on big screen so we can see it.
Oh yes. I
can do it. I'll do it, Dan.
Thank you.
There you go.
He had custom-made earrings. They are, it's the.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, and they were custom made by Frank Dietz' daughter, who Frank Dietz played Detective Frank in Zombie Nightmare. And these were custom made by his daughter. I've been alligator wrestling with Frank Dietz, so that was a fun thing too. But I was like, all I did was send Rob a shirt. Now I feel bad. I'm like, oh, these are adorable. It was a Gamera shirt, so that means something. But
I bought a pin from No More Industries. That's just the silhouette of the bots and probably. But anyway, I wore it to the live tour, and the merch manager was like, "That better be one of ours." And all the time was like, "Look out for snake or watch out for snake stuff." And I was like, "No, I don't think it is." Sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of art and collectibles and stuff that people have generated out there.
Well, that's the one Steve's holding is Zen Monkey. Put those out as well as some other pins.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if
I wore that one to the live show too, and people thought I was a part of the production. I was like, I'm just wearing a pin. Sorry.
It's all access badge.
Yes. Well, Tim, not Tim. You're.
It's because Tim is on screen and his name is the words are there, and your brain reads the words instead of thinking of what you're trying to say.
I need a nap. I definitely need a nap. So.
I've been called way worse.
I know. Me too. Me too. Well, thank you, Zach, for taking time and being a part of this. As long as we continue to be stuck at home, like you said, these kind of personal interactions continue to mean so much. So next year, we're maybe thinking about doing something for Easter. Why not? Just again, another fun get together like this and just keep promoting it. And,
until we can get in person and have a convention, because the Mystery Science Theater fan convention, I really have been talking about this for 5 years, and I want it to happen in Chicago, and Zach could be an MC.
So I would happen in Chicago. If we're going to put it anywhere, it should be in Minnesota.
I disagree.
Yeah, I mean Denver would be a strong candidate too, don't you think?
I mean, that's what we were doing for the past 4 years. Essentially, we had our small little little MSTie con there at the Dino Hotel. So, but we're, I'm all for it too. And who knows what the future holds for all of us. But
Never a truer statement.
yeah, right. Well, thank you, Zach. Merry Christmas. Continue to have a rest of your holiday and Happy New Year.
Of course,
And,
thank you. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks so much for putting this together, Dina. And I hope to see you all in person in the not too distant future.
Yes. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.